Hey guys, I wanted to show you something a little different today. If you've seen any of my dividend portfolio videos, you may have noticed I'm loading up on a covered call ETF known as Qyld. Now, this fund does not have the best reputation. Some people will say to avoid it at all costs, while others buy it religiously. You can probably tell which group I'm in. Like all investments, this fund should be used in specific portfolios and does not work for everyone's goals. In my case, it happens to do exactly what I need it to do. Let me break down exactly what this fund is and how I'm using it to fuel my financial independence and retire early. On this channel, I talk about all things finance, wealth building, and how you can achieve the life of your dreams through financial independence. If you want to join me on this journey to financial independence, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay guys, let's look at what this fund is and what it does. Qyld is a covered call ETF offered by an investment firm called Global X. This ETF basically buys stocks within the NAS 100 and writes covered calls against those stocks to generate a monthly income for its shareholders. If you guys don't know what covered call is, it's an option strategy where if you own at least 100 shares of a stock, you can sell a contract to someone agreeing to sell the 100 shares on a certain date for a certain price. In exchange, they will pay you what's called a premium that you get to keep no matter what. Let me give you an example of what this looks like with a real stock that this fund holds. The top holding in this fund is Apple at 4.7 million shares. Let's make the math easy for now too. Let's say you own 100 shares of Apple and you sell one options contract against the 100 shares. The contract expires in 1 month and you get paid $400 for selling that contract. You just made $400 off your 100 shares. Well, Qyld owns 4.7 million shares. That's 47,000 contracts they sell a month just for that one holding. Those 47,000 contracts at $400 each is equal to $18.8 million. So from one of their holdings, they're generating $18 million a month. That's how this fund pays a dividend every single month with an annual dividend yield of 12%. Now that you guys understand how this fund generates such a high dividend yield, let's look at the rest of its holdings. You can see some big names in here. Not only Apple, but this fund holds Amazon, Google, Nvidia, and Tesla. This fund holds big, quality growth companies because it encompasses the entire NAS 100, which is 100 of the largest non-financial companies in America. So why does this ETF get so much hate? Is it because the returns are bad? Well, according to this, its average 5-year return is 11%. But if that's the case, why does the stock price look like it's gone down over the last 5 years? And that is where we get to the core of the Qyld argument. This was one of the big questions that I could not figure out when I was first researching this fund. I thought, why would anyone buy a depreciating asset? It makes no sense. We buy stocks because we believe they'll go up, right? That's how we make money, right? Well, yes and no. The fund details say it's averaged 11% returns over the last 5 years, but let's take a look at Qyld at face value over the last 5 years. If you had invested $10,000 in Qyld 5 years ago, you would have just about $9,200 today. You would have actually lost money, which proves all the haters correct. If you're investing in this fund purely for capital appreciation, then you will lose money. There's no doubt about it. But what happens if you reinvested all the dividends over the last 5 years? Well, would you look at that? You would have $15,878 today. That's a 58.7% return over the last 5 years, or about 11% annually, which is exactly what the fund page has listed. And not only that, you will have been building a nice dividend snowball that has been growing every single year without you contributing any extra money. Do you guys see the difference now? It took me a while to fully grasp the concept and how this fund is supposed to be used, but ever since then, I've been buying up Qyld every single week. Because this fund does exactly what I need it to do, which is to generate cash flow. A consistent monthly income with little to no work on my end. Just a paycheck deposited into my account every single month. And that's why I'm aiming to own 10,000 shares of Qyld. I am not investing in this fund because it will get me the most capital appreciation in the long term. I have different investments for that. This fund is purely for income. In order to achieve financial independence, you need assets that generate enough income to cover all your expenses. Traditionally, people will do this through investing for the long term, trying to build $1 million portfolio which they can sell a small portion of the assets over time for retirement. And that method works. It just takes a significantly larger portfolio size and more time than my approach. Does that mean the traditional path is wrong? Of course not. We're all trying to achieve the same thing here. The timeline I have set for myself just requires a different method. Let me break down the numbers behind this. Most normal retirement plans rely on the 4% rule, which is the idea that in order to achieve financial independence and retire early, where your expenses are no more than 4% of your total portfolio value, so you can withdraw 4% every year from your portfolio and your money should theoretically never run out. So if you built an S&P 500 index fund portfolio of $1 million, it should return an average of 7% annually, and you only withdraw 4% of that, which gives you $40,000, your money should never run out. Well, for my Qyld strategy, I will need a $400,000 account, which generates 11% annually, and that will also provide $40,000 as well. Both of these strategies depend on time and compounding to do most of the heavy lifting, but in a short 5-year time frame, my compounding is very limited to what the returns of the fund are. That's why, for me, it is much easier to build a $400,000 portfolio than it is to build $1 million portfolio. Also, we have had a massive run in the stock market these last few years, and investors my age have only ever known bull markets where everything seems to go up and up. I really do not think that is sustainable, and in the last year we've seen 50% returns, which are definitely not sustainable. I think we're entering a new cycle of the market and it will bring some turbulent times with it. But I do believe Qyld should continue to generate its consistent dividend payments like it has over the last 8 years regardless of market conditions going forward. And lastly, I want to reiterate that this is only one portion of my overall investment strategy. I am not putting all my eggs in one basket. I have a separate 401k account that I contribute $30,000 to every year, and that's fully made up of S&P and Russell 1000 growth ETFs with the lowest expense ratios possible. And then on top of that, I have another separate portfolio that is in pure growth stocks. So let's just say hypothetically 3 years from now, this income portfolio plan doesn't work out for whatever reason. I will still have 2 other investment accounts that I have been contributing to every single month for years. And with 25 years before I can even access my 401k investments, I think I'll have enough time to let that compound in the background while I work on other plans to achieve financial independence and retire early. I hope this video gave you some insight into the inner workings of Qyld and my early retirement strategy. It took me about 8 months to settle on a strategy that was right for me. I was raised to be a long-term dividend growth investor, but then I discovered FIRE and it made me kick things into high gear. Qyld and the Quadfecta strategy turned out to be exactly what I was looking for. If you want to check out the Qyld community, you can check out the link to the Qyld gang Reddit I've left in the description below. Otherwise, let me know what you think about my investment strategy. Am I investing completely wrong? Is there a better way to do this? Let me know in the comments below. Any advice is appreciated. And as always, thank you for checking out the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.